The Cleveland Cavaliers are having one of the best seasons in recent memory, setting new franchise and NBA records left and right. They are headed up by perhaps the frontrunner for Coach of the Year and Kenny Atkinson, or put together by a potential Executive of the Year and Kobe Altman. They sport 4 All-Star caliber players in Darius, Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. They will likely see Mobley emerge as a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, if not win outright. They just traded for a potential 6th Man of the Year finalist in DeAndre Hunter. They have a number of key reserves and role players experiencing career years like Max Strus, Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro, and Sam Merrill. And while all of these guys are awesome in their own right and have impacted winning in numerous ways, there was one player whose breakout has taken the league by storm. But before we talk about one of the biggest glow-ups in the NBA, do your boy a favor and smash that like button, subscribe to keep the Cavs coverage coming, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on a beat. Alrighty, let's dive in. This is Ty Jerome, the chill guy, aka the Matthew McConaughey of the NBA. This dude just exudes vibes, both on the court and off of it. And for those of you who may not remember, Ty Jerome signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers back in the summer of 2023. And at that time, he was viewed as an intriguing addition who had the potential to earn a regular spot in JB Bickerstaff's rotation. He was coming off a 2022-23 campaign in which he put up a meager 6.9 points per game, but shot a then career best 48.8% from the field, including a pretty respectable 38.9% from three-point range. The potential was clearly there. Hell, Cleveland experienced it firsthand in a matchup with those Warriors in which Jerome scored a season-high 22 points and dished out 8 assists, doing so with high efficiency, going 9 of 13 from the field and 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. He dazzled with that patented floater, flooring the likes of former Cavalier Raul Neto at times while getting others off their feet with well-timed pump fakes. For real, this is the exact moment that I myself became infatuated with his game. He just seemed so confident, so in control of the offense, so calculated and decisive with each move and dribble of the ball. It was beautiful basketball to watch, and apparently that left a big enough impression on the Cavs for them to take a flyer on Jerome during the offseason following that campaign. And when he was officially bought in, and then he suffered an ankle impingement just 2 games into the 2023-24 season, which necessitated a subsequent surgery, effectively ending his inaugural campaign in white and gold almost as soon as it started. It was a gut punch for a team that was already without Ricky Rubio, and while something good arose with that with the emergence of Craig Porter Jr., it still sucked to see him essentially robbed of an entire year of ball. And then the 2024-25 offseason hit, and once again Jerome began to make waves, with many in the organization praising his work ethic and progress, with Kobe Altman going as far as to call him the team's MVP of September. It was clear that something was brewing, or a metamorphosis of some sort was taking place, as it felt like day after day we were hearing something great about him. So suffice it to say that I was really excited about what he could potentially bring to the table, especially considering Kenny Atkinson's declaration that he'd celebrate this team's depth. What followed was something that not many, including myself, could have anticipated, and that was the apparent ascension of Ty Jerome. He began the season on a tear, scoring in double figures in 4 out of the Cavs' first 5 games, and was absolutely scorching the twine. The Virginia product averaged 11.4 points and 3.4 assists in just 14.6 minutes per game during that opening slate, with perhaps the most impressive part of that being the insane efficiency he was operating with. He was completing 64.5% of his shots, including a white-hot 55.6% from range. Dude had a true shooting percentage of 76.7%. I was elated, and I was wondering what could have been during the prior season had he just stayed healthy. And that efficiency has remained nearly all season, as Jerome is extremely close to becoming a member of the coveted 50-40-90 club, with shooting splits of 52.1, 43.7, and 87.9. He has scored in double figures in 29 of his 53 total appearances this season, including 13 of his last 17. In fact, many believe that it's his emergence that led to the organization's increased willingness to move on from Caris LeVert, the player who most often cut into his minutes earlier on in the season. Of course, it didn't hurt that LeVert was on an expiring contract, but Jerome morphing into the Cavs' answer at backup guard certainly eased the concerns over Caris' potential replacement in the rotation. And for what it's worth, it's not as if we hadn't seen Ty flourish in an expanded role before. He had already shown that given a larger role or extended minutes, he could excel. That was the case place in just his second NBA season, which came with the OKC Thunder back during the 2020-2021 season. In 33 games that year, he averaged 10.7 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 3.6 assists, while completing 44.6% of his field goals, including a scorching 42.3% from three-point range, on good volume too at 5.1 attempts per contest. But what we hadn't quite seen was the level of efficiency that he was capable of. The Cavs are seeing it firsthand as Jerome appears to be redefining the definition of that word. He is quite literally in the 100th percentile in overall shot making efficiency with an A+ grade per B-ball index. He's ranked 3rd out of the 532 qualifying players in that category. Let that sink in. He's 3rd in the entire NBA. It's truly a case study in efficiency across the board. Off-ball shot-making efficiency, he's in the 99th percentile. Self-created shot-making efficiency, 99th percentile. True shooting percentage, 91st percentile. Points per possession, 87th percentile. He is truly capable of doing damage both on and off the ball. And when operating with the ball in his hands, he is always a threat to drive inside and knock down that smooth floater, and is also quite deadly when pulling up from beyond the arc, where he has drilled 34 of his 87 pull-up attempts, good for 39.1%. His step-back dribbles are the stuff of nightmares for opposing defenses. He is also a high-level finisher and creator around the rim, despite being on the lower end in terms of rim field goal percentage, placing within the 84th percentile in finishing talent, in the 96th percentile in rim shot making efficiency, and in the 89th percentile in rim shot creation. When operating off the ball, Jerome is as dangerous a catch-and-shoot threat as there is in the NBA. Through his first 53 appearances, he's drilled 47.9% of these looks, which is 4th in the NBA and 3-point percentage off of catch and shoot trays with a minimum of 50 attempts. Teams are making it a necessity to know where he is on the court at all times, and to further expand on that point, he's in the 91st percentile so far in off-ball gravity. And it's not as though he's strictly been standing in the corners either. He is another one of these guys like Max Strus or Sam Merrill who are constantly in motion off the ball. It's just not in the same way. You will not often see him flying around screens in an effort to drill the pull-up tray. Instead, he kind of gallops or takes a couple of steps to the side to wind himself into position to hoist the attempts at times, and at others, he will run to get to his spots, whether that be in the left or right-hand corners. And when you think about it, the efficiency becomes even more impressive when you take into account that the NBA has categorized just one of his field goal attempts as coming off a cut. And the attempt itself is honestly kind of questionable in that regard. He's really out here dismantling teams with the use of the floater, which B-ball index grades within the 99th percentile, a crafty layup package, and by knocking down triples. It's really kind of beautiful. Ty is not necessarily the type of player that is going to look to ISO his way to points, but if he does, he can cook you off the dribble, drive right past you, get to his spots fairly easily, and seems to be playing at his own pace. He's in the 61st percentile in total isolations per 75 possessions, so it's not something that's a common enough occurrence, but he is in the 87th percentile in one-on-one shot making and the 90th percentile in one-on-one shot making efficiency, so try him at your own risk. And he's more than just a scoring threat. The man that Basketball Reference has listed as milk is quite the playmaker as well. The bulk of his on-ball reps have resulted in a ton of pick and roll sets. He's in the 98th percentile in pick and roll ball handler frequency percentage, meaning that he's consistently involved as the ball handler in these sets. Jerome has developed a really nice chemistry with both bigs on the roster. Now he has 179 total assists on the season. 39 of those have been to Evan Mobley, while 22 have gone to Jarrett Allen. Many of these have been well-timed pocket passes hitting a cutting Evan or JA in stride. Others have come as the result of well-executed DHOs from either one, and perhaps my favorite, the alley-oop jam coming off a perfectly placed lob from Ty. He is adept at the drive and kick, which is damn near a necessity for ball handlers on this team considering the wealth of shooters they can surround one with at all times. One of the most difficult things for defenses to stop is Jerome coming downhill off a screen from the bigs because they must contain the cutting big or cut off the driving and passing lanes for Jerome, who could either kick it out to the perimeter to an open shooter, drill a floater, or hit the aforementioned big with the well-timed pass. The 6th-year guard is in the 90th percentile in assist points per 75 possessions, the 85th percentile in passing creation volume, the 86th percentile in passing creation quality, and the 89th percentile in passing efficiency. It feels as though there have been a considerable shift in how he's being defended, with opposing defenses applying pressure nearly constantly now when he has the ball in his hands. He's in the 95th percentile in on-ball gravity, and this defensive pressure typically frees up someone else for an open basket. In other words, his presence has made life easier on everyone else out there. It's rare to find a reserve who can make an impact both on the ball and off of it to the degree that he has. And better yet, he's made an impact on the defensive side of the ball as well. And look, I'll keep it transparent. Ty Jerome is by no means a lockdown defender. He's allowed opponents to convert on over 49.5% of their field goals, including 35.3% from three-point range. That said, he has forced a lot of turnovers. 81 to be exact. Much of this has been done by playing the passing lanes, where he is within the 92nd percentile. He has the 38th most deflections in the league this season. He has recorded 63 total steals so far, which is number 1 in the NBA among all reserves this year and is tied for 34th among all players. Dude is really among the smoothest pickpockets in the NBA, placing in the 96th percentile in pickpocket rating. Look, if you made it this far, I know I've thrown a lot of stats at you, but use your eyes when watching him. He passes the eye test, giving a lot of clarity to the on-paper statistical production. He has no doubt played himself into a larger contract, and it'll be very interesting to see what he signs for, but one thing is for sure. I really hope he remains in Cleveland. I mean, you'd have to think that after adding former UVA teammate and DeAndre Hunter to the roster, playing a pivotal role for a championship contender, and the chemistry he's developed both on the court and off of it over the last 2 seasons with others has to make a difference in swaying him to resign, but it's impossible to predict. I just hope it's enough. Well, that'll do it for this one, folks. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to keep up to date on all things Cavalier. Go Cavs.
Puts it up.